Welcome to 5 O'Clock Sweats. I'm Ryan, here with my co-hosts Chris and Derick. So this week, thought we would kind of shift things around a little bit. We don't necessarily have like a topic per se to talk about, but I do want to just kind of treat this as a catch-up episode with my boys and see what they've been up to. Yeah, little catch-up.
Is it ketchup or cat's up? Cat's up.
God, I'm glad we're finally breaking into this.
What the hell is going on?
Or catch up?
What are you talking about?
For sure.
You don't know about this?
No.
All right,
Ketchup.
that's fine. Keep going. Keep going.
Anyway, that aside. So I kind of just wanted to start this episode with just, seeing what the vibes are like with the guys, seeing what they've been up to in their lives. So, Chris, how about you? What's new in your life, my friend?
All right, what's new?
Now that all our viewers are gone.
No one's watching.
All right, and in the realm of our podcast, I would say probably the newest thing on my radar is actually something quite old, but I've kind of jumped into the recent craze now that Microsoft is acquiring Activision Blizzard. Apparently, all the Call of Duty servers have been restored. I believe the issue prior to this happening was that I think the servers, I guess they weren't being maintained to some degree. I don't know all the technical aspects, but they weren't being maintained and player counts were obviously low. So like matchmaking times, especially for some of the older, less popular games, were like pretty much like abysmal to the point where it was unplayable. But that has since changed drastically. And so I've been kind of back on that hype train, most recently I've been playing Modern Warfare 3 because that is the one COD that I can actually find at the moment. But I have an idea where the other ones are located. I just have to get there and get them. Worst case scenario, I'm going to probably end up rebuying games that I bought 10, 15 years ago. But that's been what I've been up to. It's crazy. I know we want to discuss this a little later, maybe in another episode, but it's pretty crazy how different these games not only feel, but how different they are from what I remember. I saw this really funny, I think it was a post on Reddit, and it was like, what we thought COD looked like in 2008, and it was like a movie quality image, and then or maybe it was Derick that sent this.
Yeah.
And then it was like
I sent that meme to the group chat, right?
Yeah, and then it was what it looks like now, and it's like N64 quality, like block, like square heads, just like kind of weird player models. But yeah, so mostly Modern Warfare 3 graphics actually hold up pretty well, because that game, I want to say that was 2010.
Yeah, that
or
sounds
11,
right.
Probably 11 actually. So yeah, what are we talking about? 12 years. It's funny though, like some of the mechanics are so much better than modern Call of Duties. Like even animations work smoother and are more efficient in terms of how they, actually affect your play. But interestingly enough, aiming, the technology implemented in games for aiming, especially on a controller, has apparently come a long way, because I feel like I'm in either quicksand or on ice skates.
Really?
I cannot find a happy medium. And what I've been, granted, I haven't looked through the settings too deeply, but from what I've seen, you can't really tweak the settings as specifically as you can now. Obviously, now you have ADS multipliers. You can, even the interval at which you can change things, you know what I mean? You can change things to the point, I think it's 0.1 now, in settings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
1.1, 1.2, 1.3 for sensitivity or something. But I think in Modern Warfare 3, it goes by 0.25. So again, you don't have as much control. So my point being really is it feels so clunky, and I just remember back in the day, the total opposite. It felt so damn smooth. But the gameplay holds up. The nostalgia factor is absolutely there. I'm a little worried though about playing some of the other games that I'm a little bit more attached to, because I kind of feel like it's going to ruin the way I remember them. Nostalgia is one of those unique things, and I've really found this through games, is it's in your head, it's always better than I think it actually was. And we complain about a ton of shit in today's games, not just Call of Duty. And then you go back and play like the predecessors and you're like, wow, like, I don't know. Was it better because it was actually like objectively better, or were we just in like simpler times and maybe like where we were in life was a little bit different and like more stress free, so things felt better? I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm realizing a little bit jumping back into these games. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Also playing a little bit of Diablo, kind of faded out from that right now because apparently this latest patch is not like very player friendly. I think they like made the grind even slower, which for someone like myself who has limited time is just it's just very off-putting. Yeah, off-putting. And then I guess like movie-wise, the wife and I saw Insidious yesterday. We did like a little date night.
Nice.
Go ahead.
You went to the theater. You saw the new one.
Yeah. So that's actually the first time I've been to the movies since, Ryan, you and I went to see John Wick 4. So that's what, a few months at this point.
That was like back in April.
Yeah, and it was good. I mean, I don't know. I just love watching horror, like a good horror movie, of course, in theaters. And like, there's something about jump scares on the big screen with like the theater audio that just don't quite have the same impact like at home. And this one was very jump scare heavy.
Okay.
It was different than the others. I won't obviously give out too many details to spoil, but it felt different than the other movies. Not in a good or bad way. It just was different. Overall, I liked it. The reviews, as with most scary movies, I think the reviews were pretty bad. But I found it to be like a fun time. I mean, I'm not going into a horror movie like that critical. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to be critical. I just want to be kind of scared and it to be fun. And I felt like, you know, it hit its stride in that regard. So that's where I've been. A little bit of Call of Duty, a little bit of the, you know, movies, but
yeah,
like we talked about.
I've been legitimately scared to like go back and play old games.
Yeah.
I think in a previous episode, I brought up the fact that I never actually beat Dark Cloud 2. Like, I was stuck in the last dungeon. My weapons all broke. I didn't have any materials to make anything new. I like didn't have any ammunition, so I was just fucked. And like, I still have a PlayStation 2. I still have the discs. I have, like, I can find a memory card, but like, I'm afraid that, you know, I'll pop the disc in and it just won't feel the same. Like I won't love the game like I used to. It's true. And the other thing that I'm a little worried about too is that, like, I don't know, like some of the games, like the gameplay, like, I don't know, it's kind of funny. Like, I feel like by going back to some of these games, it actually like takes away a lot of the complaints I have against current like games, specifically Call of Duty, because I'll be like, oh, you know, like this part of the new COD sucks. It was better back in the day. And then like I go and play that, and I'm like, oh shoot, this was kind of bad. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe what I've been complaining about, I shouldn't be. So that's another reason where it's like, I don't know if I want to admit that maybe I've been wrong about some of these things.
Oh wow, I gotta go. But so when I go back home to my mom's house, I'm gonna go in my old room and see if I can find any of the old Call of Duties, because I do want to try them. I really do.
Yeah.
Especially like Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3. And then Black Ops. I think I only played Black Ops 1. I don't think I played the other two.
I don't know if you remember this, but Ryan, we had a LAN at your house and it was Black Ops 1. So that was like, what, 2010?
Okay.
Yeah, I specifically remember that. Black Ops 1 was goated. So that's one I want to get back to. Black Ops 2. And then I want to play a little bit of World at War, which that's one I'm a little scared because I feel like that game's 15 years old. I kind of feel like it's not going to hold up that well, and I'm going to be a little bummed on it.
But it's kind of,
that's what I'm afraid of.
It's got that World War II setting though, so, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe the age is more forgivable. Like the way if it plays a little dated.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, it's OG zombies in that game too. So that's fun. And yeah, so I kind of want to also like dive into some of the campaigns again. I don't know. It's like when you discover something like in a box from your childhood, like even just like cards, you know what I mean? Like Pokemon cards or like movies or like CDs or something. It's like, shoot, like now I just want to dive into all of them.
Yeah, dude.
But we'll see. I'm going to I don't want to go crazy, right? I want to sort of like give each one its time just to kind of see like, you know, is this something that I actually want to like keep playing, or is it just kind of like that 1 or 2 night like phase where it just fizzles out really quick just because I was like pumped for a second, you know? So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, the announcement that the Gears of War servers have been restored, like, I'm going to go back and play, you know, Gears 1, 2, and 3, and get my thoughts. And I can't wait to, like, this will be an episode eventually where we'll just talk about our experiences playing some of these older games. I'm really looking forward to that. Like, I'm still playing Master Chief Collection, so I'm playing, like, Halos 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And my experience, you know, I have thoughts on my experiences on those games, even though I still love them, but they definitely are flawed playing them in 2023. And Derick, I was actually, you mentioned you had a PlayStation 2. I was going through a bag of old games I took from my mom's house, and I came across like
games.
Yeah, it's literally a bag of games. So I came across Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1, 2, and 3. So
are you throwing down the gauntlet right now?
I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I challenge you to a fight to the death.
All right. Okay.
So, but I think, yeah, we'll play mostly Budokai 3 because that's the best one. But I'm definitely down to bring those over.
So question here about that. Did you find controllers as well? Or do you have controllers?
I don't.
All right, because I was going to ask because, I don't know, did you guys, when you had PS2s, did you wrap your wires around the controller, right? Everybody did that.
Every console
now,
I had.
Even back when like we were playing it daily, do you remember how twisted up the wires got?
Yep.
So I was going to ask you, like, if you literally just found like a, gosh, what is it at this point? Like 20-year-old console, like with those wires wrapped up, like they're going to be like cemented in that shape. And I can only imagine how like just rigid and twisted up they're going to be, but I guess you didn't find them. So never mind.
The status of, I was actually thinking about this. Like, I don't know where my PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3 went. I don't know if I sold them or if my mom sold them or if they're just somewhere in my childhood home just collecting dust. I really have no clue. I know my 360 is in the trunk of my car still. I have to just give that shit like a Viking style funeral. Honestly,
that 360 has been in your trunk since at least 2014.
No, not that long. Since last year, I think last summer. So it's endured like the harsh winter and the scorching hot summer we've had recently.
But I can picture this thing because it definitely has the Eagles faceplate on it, doesn't it?
I'll send you all a picture later.
I remember that thing.
Wow. What's the oldest thing that's in your trunk? I know crutches have to be up there because that was when the birds went to the bowl.
Yeah, the crutches are from 2018, so that might be the oldest. Actually, no, it's not. The oldest thing in there is my old DeMarini baseball bat. I have
the voodoo.
The voodoo from fucking Babe Ruth. I think is when I first had that.
Wow.
God, so that was, how old were we? That was after Little League, so before high school.
That's
I think it's old.
That's like 2000.
You don't want to do that math,
2010,
7 or 8. No.
No, you're right. Damn, how old? We're old as fuck.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Do not do that math.
Sorry,
it's only despaired back there.
For some reason, I always get college and high school confused with the years. Don't know why.
Oh my god. But I think it's kind of a testament to like when you play these old games to the fact that like graphics like really don't matter. Like none of my complaints going back to play the old games are because the graphics look dated. Like obviously I expected that, but like even the way they look, it's still like if the gameplay is good, like it still holds up. And I saw like a TikTok and this guy he went to like most of the old games and he did like he just did matchmaking and he he basically timed how long it would take him to get into a match. And like, I mean, you're talking about Black Ops 2, I think had 10,000 players on.
Yeah, there was
You
an
know what I mean?
article. There was an article that like, there were like a total of 100,000 players playing old school Call of Duty. Like, I guess between all of the games. That's amazing.
Which, here's the funny thing, is you look at the current Call of Duty, and like, I don't think your like concurrent players is reaching 100K.
No.
So like, if that isn't like a kick in the ass, I don't know what is. So I'm kind of interested to see sort of what Microsoft does here, you know, with Call of Duty. And obviously Microsoft has a really good track record of opening and keeping old games alive. So like, I'm really excited to see like, you know, kind of what the future holds. And not for nothing, but it's like, I like reinstalled Modern Warfare 3, and I know a buddy that was, you know, reinstalling some old games, and like, you have all the content you bought. So like, all the map packs you bought, like, it's all cloud saved. Like, it's amazing what they did with that. I was pretty sure like it was, you know, I was like, ah, man, my account's going to be screwed. I'll have to start from zero. No, like, the classes are the same, like the same ones I set up 15 years ago. Like, it's kind of trippy.
That's
and,
absurd.
like, and like I don't know if you guys remember, in Black Ops 2 you could make, or Black Ops 1, you could make your own emblems.
Yeah.
Obviously,
people got real into that.
Obviously things
Lots
got
of
like pretty out of
penises.
hand. Yeah, pretty out of hand. But that's like, there's a bunch of TikToks I'm seeing too of that, where people are like going back to their old accounts, and they're like, you know, they're like 30 now, and it's like going back to like your 15-year-old self. And you're like, oh my God, like some of the shit is just, it's funny, but some of it's also so cringy. Like what we thought was like edgy.
Oh yeah,
Dude, you get like grown men crying over the nostalgia. Like, I can't believe it. I was so young.
It's a good feeling. I think that's what Xbox has over PlayStation or any other, you know, console, is just the fact that like, when you want to feel nostalgic, you can go right back into it for the most part. Like a PlayStation, you need to get your old PlayStation out. Nintendo, I mean, gosh, their consoles changed so drastically that the games wouldn't even fit into the you know what I mean? Like the current consoles. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I was wondering if Call of Duty would make their own like Master Chief Collection, where they just had like all the old Call of Duties in one game, but I guess with Game Pass being a thing eventually, like they're not gonna have to do that. But
I don't
know. I'm surprised they haven't done that.
So I think that would be great, but I think the challenge is, you know, you have, and I guess maybe Halo's the same way, but you have, for Call of Duty, they're all like for a long time, it was like every 3 games is like developed by a different studio, and then you kind of rotate it. So I don't know how that works, but I think the other problem really is the fact that like, I mean, we're going back to like 2007 for like COD 4. So I mean, you're literally talking with annual releases, you're talking like 15 games or even like 10 games, right? Like that, a Master Chief Collection is what, 5 games?
Now we've got 3, you've got Reach and ODST, which is technically like a half a game. And then you got Halo 4.
So how many is that? Like
3.
It's like 5.5.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
No, you got Halos 1, 2,
but
3, and then Reach for Halo 4, 5. Sorry, Halo 4, which makes 5, and then ODST, technically 6. So,
yeah, I think
it doesn't have multiplayer. ODST only has campaign, no multiplayer.
Yeah, so you're talking like even if we did like a conservative 10 years worth of COD, like that's 10 games. I mean, gosh, I don't even know. I mean, they're not as big in terms of file size as current games, but that's still probably like a tough sell. Especially when most people still have these games, you know what I mean? Like on hand, or you can pick them up used for like, I mean, I'm sure GameStop now is going to like jack up these prices, but
GameStop.
On the Xbox store, they're all on sale for like, you know, $10 or some or less.
Yeah, I'm going to probably wait for Game Pass, but if I don't have, I might buy a couple if I can't find them at home, because
that's how I feel. I'm kind of itching. Especially like once you get the itch, you gotta like, this is the right time to do it. Because if I wait 4 months, it's like that kind of like desire for the nostalgia will probably pass. So
very
I don't
true.
know. I think I'm going to be turning my Xbox on a little bit more, even with us playing MLB so much.
You're going to be playing more than just MLB on that thing.
Yeah, my old dinosaur here. But what about you guys? Anything else going on other than me just talking about COD?
I know there's something you want to talk about, Ryan. Do you want to go? Or
yeah, I can just
save it for the end.
No, I can just go into it. Why not?
Yeah, insert. Let them cook.
Let them cook, baby. Not like Russell Wilson though. But anyway, so this past Friday, my friend Connor and we had the brilliant idea and totally original idea. Like nobody else thought to do this. Not the thousands of people on social media, but we bought tickets to see Barbie and Oppenheimer practically back to back on Friday night. So we did that, saw the infamous Barbenheimer, and I don't really want to talk about the movies themselves just yet. I do want to talk about just my experience like at the theater, which was unlike anything I've experienced maybe ever at a theater. And if not, at least it's been a long time. Probably since Avengers Endgame. There hasn't been like that much buzz in the theater since at least that time. But going in there, like we bought our tickets beforehand, so we didn't have to stay in a line or anything, but the concession line was so long. Like I mean like they had to like turn, like the line had to turn towards like the bathrooms because it was that long. But then also just like seeing everyone dressed up. Like, I don't know why I didn't expect this, but there were all sorts of different people, like age groups, dressed in pink or wearing like Barbie dresses. And then there were also people, like men wearing suits for the Oppenheimer part. It was like the personification of like the one ticket for Barbie, one ticket for Oppenheimer meme that had been going around. And I don't know. I loved it. I mean, it made me so happy. And like I said, like different, like all sorts of ages. So you'd have like your teenage girls wearing their like pink shirts and pants. And then you also had like women in like their 50s wearing like literally like a pink dress and like had their hair up and everything. I thought as silly as that might be, like I thought it was great.
And what were you wearing?
I did not dress up. I was just wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. I
missed
kept
opportunity.
I know. I do have a pink shirt I could have wore. Damn. All right.
Well, you just have to get another ticket, go see it again, and then wear that shirt.
That's an excuse. I'll just dress up. So, anyway, so we go into the theater, and this theater was huge. Like we saw Barbie first. 7:30 showing for Barbie. And the theater we were in, I don't know what the capacity was, but it was one of the biggest theaters I've ever sat in. And it was filled, like, to the brim. And the experience, like, the buzz, like, people chatting before the movie, like, then the opening credits start to roll, and people are, like, wooing, like, woo, and they're clapping, like, let's go. And then, like, right before the movie actually starts, you have one girl that's like, let's fucking go! So... yeah, that was just so much fun leading up to the movie. And then, Barbie itself, I don't want to spoil it because, this is pretty fresh, but it was just damn fun. It was so, like, I had expectations, like, they were moderate expectations. Like, I wasn't expecting, like, anything Oscar-worthy or anything, and it's not, but it's just, like, a ton of fun, and it really hit the notes that I wanted it to. And I kind of, I don't know if I discussed this on, like, while we were recording, but I was saying, like, I was kind of hoping for some adult humor. I got that adult humor. I was so happy for that. Ryan Gosling absolutely kills it. Like, he's so funny. When he's given, like comedic lines to deliver, like, he always nails them. He's great. Margot Robbie's, you couldn't have casted anybody else better than her to play Barbie. And it's well paced. It's funny. It's got a lot of personality. It's it's dynamic. It's colorful, and the ending, the last like 20 minutes, are absolutely batshit insane. Without spoiling too much, but it becomes like almost like a musical, like almost like a D-Day battle style thing. I That's all I can say. If that doesn't make you want to see it, just based off that description alone, then then I don't know what to tell you.
So, real quick, I just wanted to ask, based on, so you were like, what? So, you said 7:30 was Barbie?
Yeah.
Or 7, and then Oppenheimer, I think you told us, was like 11?
Yeah, 11 o'clock.
And then when did that end?
We left the theater at like 2:30-ish, 2:45.
All right, so like, let's just say, so they're like about 5 hours and change. So how much popcorn and or soda? Like, so before you move on to Oppenheimer, I need a rundown on the concessions here.
All right, so this might surprise you, but it also might not surprise you. But my goal going into the night, because as we discussed on a previous episode, my bladder is a little small. So I made it a point to not drink any liquid after like 6 o'clock or like 6:30. And I basically achieved that. Like I had a Red Bull like after work around like 5:30-ish. And then we went to Chick-fil-A before, because it was like the closest thing that was quick. And I had a water, but I didn't finish the water. I only had like half of it. And then from there on, I didn't drink anything. And so for food, we stopped at a Dollar Tree beforehand, we got some cheap snacks. So, I got M&Ms, and my girlfriend and my friend Connor, they got like some, she got like a large assortment of snacks. She's a big snacker. So she likes a variety of snacks, like chocolate. Chocolate and like sweet tarts or like gummies and whatnot.
Ooh, yeah. Gummies are good. The problem with gummies though is they start to upset my tummy. I'm serious. Like they make me like kind of sick after
they
like
just sit in there. I feel like you can feel all the individual like gummies that you've chewed up.
And there's no way any of that shit is like meant for the human body to like actually digest. No. But so I think on like a marathon like that, I don't think the gummies, I mean, you got to be pretty brave to do that. I totally support the move to like get shit like before you get to the theater. I'm a little unsure about this dehydration technique. I don't know if I like you putting your health on the line here for that, but
I did not want to miss a second of these movies, so I did what I had to do. I made the ultimate sacrifice.
The ultimate sacrifice.
As soon as the movie was over, I went to the water fountain and just like bent over and just chugged it for like
put your whole mouth over the whole nozzle.
Minutes. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Anyway, so for Oppenheimer, we got the big boy popcorn.
Of course.
It was like $11, and then when she handed me the bucket of popcorn, she's like, "You get free refills." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, but
like who's gonna get up and get the refills?
Please, I'm taking.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying though. Like, what is a popcorn refill? Like, I'm just gonna ditch the movie and be like, "Yes, let me go stand in line again."
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems like a gimmick, but
I guess like technically, like after the movie's over, if you want to bring it home with you, you can get a refill before you leave. By the time, obviously, we left at like 2:45, so like everyone's gone at that point. So,
yo, that was totally planned. They duped you.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, I kind of, sorry, I sidetracked you a little bit, but you can proceed. I think you were going to start to talk about Oppenheimer a little bit.
Yeah, but one more thing.
Sorry. Yeah.
Between movies, we had like an hour and 10 minutes to kill. So we walked across the street to Buffalo Wild Wings. I probably shouldn't call them out because what happened was my friend Connor forgot his wallet. So we sit down and Derek, I like how Derek's laughing because like this behavior doesn't surprise him probably.
Friend of the show, Connor. Does not surprise me.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
So anyway, we love you, Connor. So we get to Buffalo Wild Wings and like I was gonna get a beer, which in hindsight was probably a blessing in disguise. But she asked for our IDs, so like he didn't have his ID, and then my girlfriend didn't have her ID on her either. So I was the only one with an ID, and I don't know. It's all right, but I took it as a compliment. At the end of the day, it's taken as a compliment because like I don't think I look. I don't know if I look 30. I think I look 30. I think I look my age, but when they ask for the ID, you're always like, oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Make me feel young again. So we ended up just walking there and walking back and then just sitting there, like sitting at a table for like 45 minutes talking. All right. So we get in Oppenheimer and we walk in. This is my first IMAX movie in a long time. I can't remember the last one I saw in IMAX. Our seats are perfect. Like I thought I selected good seats, but these are like ideal, like center, and then like the first, like they had like the low row and then the elevated row. We were the first row in the elevated row, so we had like the shelf in front of us to like put our feet up if we wanted to, but like eye level wise and everything, it was like the perfect viewing distance and height for the movie. So, and that theater was also packed for an 11 o'clock showing. It was packed. And there was no wooing or clapping before the movie this time. You could tell this was a much more serious experience. There were some people in suits.
Gosh.
And I mean, Oppenheimer is just everything I expected and then some. It's probably, I mean, for me, it's probably third on Nolan, like on the Nolan list for me. I want to see it a second time. I think it's one of those movies where you need to see it a second time to fully appreciate it. It's a dense movie, there's a lot of dialogue, but the pacing is incredibly quick. Like it's a 3-hour movie, but it did not feel like a 3-hour movie. The performances are just fucking incredible. Cillian Murphy kills it in his first like big lead role. Robert Downey Jr. absolutely amazing. Really hasn't done much acting since Iron Man. And he just absolutely kills it. Like this might be one of his best performances of all time. The sound design, the sound mixing in this movie. I know like Nolan's been like criticized for his like sound mixing when it comes to dialogue, especially in the past, which are completely merited. Especially in like The Dark Knight Rises, like there are like full lines of dialogue I can't hear in that movie, but this wasn't the case in this movie. I pretty much heard all the lines of dialogue. The music is amazing. But the things they do with the sound in regards to like obviously the bomb going off, but like there's other scenes and tricks that they use to kind of heighten each scene and really help you get inside like Oppenheimer's head, like how he's dealing with, the stress of the repercussions of what happens with the bomb and like the anxiety and stress that overcome him. I can't really, you kind of just have to see it to experience it, but it's just, if you can see it in IMAX, see it in IMAX. And if you can see it in a theater, see it in a theater. Because it's definitely one of those movies that the experience is heightened when you see it in a theater with, the optimal sound and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm so happy we saw Oppenheimer last because you can't see Oppenheimer and then have the mental, like, be in the right mentality to see Barbie afterwards, because Oppenheimer just kind of
dissonance. Yeah,
it kind of gets you. It kind of makes you feel a certain way about things after that movie. So, yeah, it was it was an amazing night. One of probably my favorite movie going experience ever. Just seeing those two movies back to back. Go ahead.
That wasn't even the end of your movie weekend, right?
It wasn't. So
whoa.
No, it wasn't.
There's more?
There's more. So what time? My buddy gets to my apartment and I'm like, I really want to see Mission Impossible 7. And we looked at movie times and there was a 9:45 showing the next morning. So he had to leave like early afternoon to get home. And we were doing the math. We're like, if we see this movie at 9:45, we can be out by like 11ish, and then or like 11:30, close to noon. You can get out of here in time. So we made the executive decision to purchase tickets for a 9:45 a.m. showing, which I didn't even know they had 9:45 a.m. showings now. I've never seen a movie that early before. So we did that. We bought tickets. We got 4-ish hours of sleep maybe, and we saw Mission Impossible 7. And actually, there were more people maybe not at the specific movie, but at the theater than I thought. Like, there was a good amount of people at the concession line. It wasn't completely dead or anything. So Mission Impossible 7, fantastic. I knew it was going to be good. I trust Tom Cruise when it comes to movies these days. He hasn't come out with a bad movie in a long time. And yeah, it's just excellent. I mean, if you like action movies, Chris, I know you like action movies, you should definitely see it.
I've been getting a ton of stuff on, like, ton of marketing stuff online from that movie, and like apparently like that sequence where it's in the trailer, so I haven't even seen the movie, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything here, but it's like he jumps the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like a legit, like he actually jumped the motorcycle off like a mountain.
That was
awesome
real
stunt. Like in a little bit more of a controlled sense, but like obviously, like that's nuts. And like him in Top Gun, like also like I don't know. You're right. You can think or say what you want about Tom Cruise, but like the fact of the matter is I think he does make damn good action movies, and you can respect the guy that does like most, or if not all of his own stunts. So that's on my list to see. But again, I have like, I'm telling you, I think Oppenheimer, Barbie, Mission Impossible, just with the amount of time I have, I think they're going to have to be movies I see at home.
Yeah. Apparently with that motorcycle scene, apparently that was like the first scene that he filmed for this movie, because he's, doing his own stunts. He's like, if I die doing this, like the rest of the movie's fucked. So like, I might as well do this first. And then like, if I live through it, cool, movie's on. If I die, no more movie. Yeah, exactly.
It's not a crazy mentality to go into like a movie with. Like, I could die during this scene that we're filming.
Yeah.
And he's still like, the scene itself, like he's acting while he's falling from that, doing that stunt, which is insane. Because there's a dialogue scene after that where like his face is just all flappy because of the wind and everything, and he's still delivering lines. And like, this dude is just,
that's nuts.
This dude's just amazing. He's a freaking star.
I saw that their original plan was to do the shot without using a helicopter. And then they practiced something and realized I don't think they could do it without a helicopter. So they went back to the helicopter plan. But the fear all along was that having like a helicopter kind of fly, like sort of where he's jumping, obviously like could blow him, because they used a big ramp. They CGI it, but he was on a big ramp, and like the helicopter could obviously like blow him off, or, kind of put him off track there. So it was just kind of like interesting how like their fear, like, this isn't going to work for X reason. They actually ended up going back and doing it that way, because it was like the only possible way. So there was like even added risk, to what he was doing. But I think, that kind of stuff pays off. Obviously, I'm sure the movie's a hit. Kind of, did it come out this weekend though? Like, I feel like that's horrible
Came out
release.
last Wednesday. Like, not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before that. This past Wednesday.
I don't know what you mean by that, but
so go back to this last Wednesday, the week,
but not that one.
Wednesday before that one.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Well, I guess I don't know. I still feel like, because I know Christopher Nolan was pissed about Barbie like releasing in the same window, so I don't know. Like, I feel like summer movies, it's so like annoying. It's like, you can go like 6 months without anything good coming out, and then they all want to come out in the same week and a half in the summer. You know?
I think honestly, like the fact Barbie was coming out at the same time helped. I mean, listen, people were going to go see Christopher Nolan's new movie anyway, because it's Christopher Nolan. But I think like the whole social media trend with Barbenheimer, #Barbenheimer, like that definitely helped elevate ticket sales for both movies.
Sure.
I mean, this weekend ended up being the 4th highest grossing box office weekend of all time.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I don't think you can predict that. Like, I think that was like a social media like kind of phenomenon. Like, if you were to like say that, okay, these two movies are releasing at the same time, and like, because I'm assuming that the demographic for Barbie and Oppenheimer, I'm sure there's a lot of overlap, but I'm sure there's also quite a bit of gap there too. So like, I could see where Christopher Nolan might be upset by that. Not to mention a movie of that magnitude, like, you don't want anything even remotely like recognizable to be around it. You know what I mean? Like you want that to be the whole summer, really.
Yeah,
kind of like Top Gun was for a while there.
Well, it's gonna get its time in the limelight come awards time, because that movie's gonna win a ton of awards. Like actor's gonna win awards, the sound design, cinematography and everything. It's all top notch. Also, there were a lot of A-list actors in that movie that just like basically made cameos. Like there's one towards the end where I kind of recognized this character. I was like, I know that actor, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And then afterwards, I found out who it was, and I was like mind blown. I was like, he was in this like the movie for like a minute and a half.
You gotta say who it is.
All right. It was Gary Oldman. He's playing Harry Truman, the president.
Oh, okay.
There's no way that's a spoiler.
Well,
you sounded so defeated that you had to say the words Gary Oldman.
He goes, oh,
because it is kind of a spoiler. Like for the I don't even know if his name's on like the credits list. Like if you looked it up on IMDb.
100%, it is.
Well, it might not be. Sometimes those movies hide like for like surprise cameos like that. But yeah. Anyway, it's gonna win a ton of awards. Just go see that. I implore you, and everyone listening, if you haven't seen the Oppenheimer or you're on the fence about seeing it, like see it. It's worth your time. It's what makes cinema great. Like what makes going to the movies great, or movies like that. And Barbies too. Support Barbie. Support Mission Impossible. They're all deserving. All great. So yeah, that was my week. Jeez. Friday and Saturday, and then afterwards, after we got back from Mission Impossible 7, I took a 4-hour nap.
Bro, 4 hours. 4 hours ain't a nap. You went to bed.
Well, when it's like 1:00 in the afternoon.
Dude, I don't know how you can do that.
Yeah, I do not have the constitution for that.
I couldn't even have done the 2. Like. Yes, I could not have done that.
I did it for the content. I did it so I could talk about it on
for the
podcast.
Pod.
Yeah, I did it for the pod. I did it for you guys.
Hashtag for the pod.
Yeah.
The pod.
So besides that, I know I've talked a lot, but what else did I do? I started Pickleball. Actually, I haven't played in a few days, sadly. I could have played Friday, but I was seeing the movies, and then I could have played Saturday, but I was seeing a movie.
I'm napping.
So, and I wanted to play today, but I couldn't. I didn't sign up early enough.
What movie did you see today?
I did not see a movie today. I watched. I finished up the first season of a new anime I've been watching called Vinland Saga, which is like a Viking themed anime. Would highly recommend it to any anime fan. It's a good story. It's a great story with some good characters. The animation studio was Wit, so the same studio that did like the first couple seasons of Attack on Titan. And yeah, story's good. The last 10 episodes specifically were just like harrowing, and like had like those cliffhanger endings to each episode where I'm like, I got to keep watching. So I'm excited to start season 2. I've heard a lot of things about season 2, like not being as action packed, and it's more like character driven, and people didn't like it because of that. But I don't know. I've heard people also call it a masterpiece. So I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna see what I think. I'm invested in the characters enough where if it's not as action heavy, I can still enjoy like these characters growing and developing further.
Yeah, I think that came across my feed at some point because that rung a bell with me. But it feels like the first season was like, battling on the high seas, whereas apparently the second season is like a lot more like driven by the relationships between the characters and like their own internal struggles and everything. Yeah,
for sure. I'm excited because they're the character that I guess the main character of the show, like, his story in this season is gonna be interesting because he really only had one purpose in the first season, and that purpose is now over. So I'm curious to see how he grows. So yeah, I will provide updates on that if you guys want, or if the audience would like updates. And speaking of anime, Chris, I think Derick and I might have found an anime for you to start eventually when it releases.
All right, so this means that you were talking about me.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the story.
Tell me
right?
more.
So I'm looking at my timeline, my Mastodon timeline. I might make an appearance later, and I see something that I sent to Ryan, and oh shoot, I don't know if I can find it in time. But
I know what it's
all of the notes that were included in this post seemed like they were targeted at you specifically.
Yeah, it was like they heard like there's a guy that hasn't watched anime and we want him to start watching anime. So
yeah, and it's you. So
go ahead,
the only thing that's on here that you probably don't care about is the old show Cowboy Bebop. That might be a name that you're familiar with from like way back in the 90s. But other than that, it's the director of that show is collaborating with John Wick's Chad Stahelski. So the guy who, made John Wick.
Yeah.
On a new Adult Swim animated series. And it's going to be produced by Mappa, who is the studio behind like a lot of the really big name animes, like recently. Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Attack on Titan. So, I mean, I don't even know what more I can say. You got some John Wick involvement. You got some cool gunplay.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
One of the most respectable studios out there. Like,
is there like a? So, is this something that's coming out or already exists?
It's coming out.
See, now that would be something I'd be more interested in, like trying to get into something that is like actually like releasing now,
right.
Versus like something that's got like, gosh, like so much of a backlog. It feels daunting to kind of get into, which that can be nice too because you can binge it. But how did like these animes release? Is it like weekly or do they put out a whole season at once?
It depends. I think so. Netflix releases their animes all at once, like every other show they make, and then Crunchyroll and Hulu release their animes weekly as they premiere. So this is going to be on Adult Swim, so I'm assuming it's going to be a weekly release.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Which is good. Which is probably good for you, honestly.
I could give it a shot. I think I could give it a shot.
Well,
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. It's just a lot of the, I don't know. I think it's going to be a little different for me to kind of get into like the art style.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I know anime has different art styles, but just to kind of get behind something that's more animated. I've not watched a lot of, animated films or shows, but that's not necessarily me saying that I wouldn't. I think like you guys kind of said, it would have to be the right like subject matter. And I think, based on what you were explaining, like that does oddly sound like it was targeted just to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna
we'll send you the trailer link after this. It's they don't really give anything away, but there's scenes where the guy's jumping off of buildings. There's some cool like close range like gun fu basically.
I'm sold.
People taking each other down. It looked good.
Yeah, and Mappa doesn't do like cartoony anime like animation either. It's not like it's realistic animation in regards to like character movements and whatnot. It's not going to be very cartoony. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it because this just sounds amazing. But I'm also excited for you to check it out. And then maybe this will be like this will be like an like a what am I trying to say? It'll be like an entry level anime for you, and then you can branch out.
We're going to be an anime podcast. You heard it here first.
Hey, I'm completely okay with that.
So we're going to do anime and Magic the Gathering. That is the direction we're heading.
Podcast. God, we're going to have to like all wear. We're going to have to all wear. I have to wear my glasses now.
Yeah,
I gotta look more nerdy.
What's up with glasses? What?
I don't know. I just we gotta walk the walk and talk the talk.
Yeah, he's basically saying like if you play Magic and watch anime, you wear glass, you have vision problems.
Prejudicial.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm a dweeb.
I appreciate the thought. So I will definitely, you guys keep me updated on that. I will definitely check that out.
Of course.
Yeah, kind of curious.
So maybe a good transition into what I've been doing. Speaking of anime, speaking of, long established things that have a big backlog. I think I even mentioned it in a recent episode, but I've been working through the back catalog of Studio Ghibli movies. A lot of their real famous ones are My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, Kiki's Delivery Service, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle. Those are the big name ones that people tend to know of. But I am going chronologically through all of them. It's good that most of them are available on Max, so I can just kind of stream them there. But I've made it through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half of these movies. So Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Castle in the Sky, My Neighbor Totoro, Grave of the Fireflies, which fucking destroyed me. Kiki's Delivery Service, I finished that yesterday, and the one I started today that I'm halfway through is only yesterday. I think my feeling on these is that I'm 5 to 8 years too late on this. I feel like if I did this in my early to mid 20s, it probably would have been a much more impactful experience. But I am enjoying the fuck out of these movies right now. I can see why Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki, why they're so highly regarded.
So what? Which one has been your? You said you've watched 5.5. So we'll cut that half out. Which of the 4 have you enjoyed the most so far?
It's hard. I'm gonna say My Neighbor Totoro. So it's not very. So I guess maybe the cliff notes on it is a dad and his 2 daughters move into an old house. They figure out that there are spirits in it, and they live next to basically the guardian of the forest. And, the kids have their adventures and meet the spirits and stuff. I think because of what I'm used to, I was always waiting for something bad to happen. And I guess, spoiler alert, it really doesn't. And what I love about the universe that a lot of these films are set in is that these kids are just free to do, whatever they want. Like, whatever dreams they have, they can follow them. Like, whatever whims they have, they can, act on them. And it's so freeing to, like, see these kids with their own, autonomy.
Nice.
Dream big. Well,
so coming on, so you watched that after Grave of the Fireflies, right?
Yes.
Okay. So coming off that, it was like probably like a big breath of fresh air coming off of that.
Yeah. So Grave of the Fireflies is set in 1945 Kobe, Japan. That is just about to be bombed.
So I just saw Oppenheimer. No.
It's about 2 kids who are very quickly 2 orphans. And it's about June to September of 1945 and them trying to like survive on their own. And it shows it at the very beginning of the movie. Like, both of these kids are no longer with us. So like I at least knew what the ending was going to be, leading up to it. But oh boy, I was not prepared for it.
Oh man. Dude,
absolutely brutal.
Leave the kids out of this, man. That sucks.
Yeah, it was it was very good. I really liked the movie. It just devastated me though.
Yeah.
It affected me so much that I like decided to start a Twitter/Mastodon thread about like me watching all these movies, because I figure if one of these movies fucks me up like that, like there's got to be some other emotions that are waiting for me down this road. So that's about what I've been doing, really. I've been watching some other stuff. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. If you follow us on Instagram, you may have seen that Ryan finally got me to watch that.
Oh my
Puss in Boots.
I feel like Puss in Boots has come up in every single episode we've recorded. Even an episode that has absolutely nothing to do with, like, even when I think Puss in Boots could not come up, it still does.
So
I don't know. That's like a recurring theme.
Puss finds a way.
Puss in Boots.
All
right. Well, listen, I'm serious. Like, it's on Netflix. Just watch it, man. I mean, maybe the daughter wants to watch it when she's a little older. You know, at least do it for her.
Bro, are you still talking about Puss in Boots?
Yes. I'm always talking about Puss in Boots.
He's still going.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I started and finished a series on Netflix called Love Village. It's a Japanese reality dating show where 4 men, 4 women move into a old Japanese house, and they're there to find the last loves of their lives. And you learn about everybody, and the catch is everyone is 35 and over. I'm just keep muscling through this. So it's about like people who've been through like divorces and stuff, and like people who've not ever been in like relationships, or people who are 60 and like been through 2 divorces, have like adult children. And the interesting mechanic is that there's a love bell behind the house. And if you feel like you've fallen for somebody, you go behind the house and you ring the love bell, and you confess your feelings to them in front of everybody.
Yes.
But you don't get a response that day. You have to go back into the fucking house and like live the rest of the day and like have dinner with like everybody, and everyone's just kind of like side-eyeing you because they know what you've done. They know what you've just said.
Yeah.
And then the next day you get your response from that person. And the interesting part is, if they say, you know, if they reciprocate your feelings, you leave together. If they don't, you still fucking leave. So no matter what, if you ring the bell, you're fucking gone the next day. It's whether or not you're alone on the bus.
Now, gosh, my question to you is, what about, was there like a description for the show? They're like, what, how did you, I gotta know, what initiated the first click?
So this was a recommendation from one of the podcasts that I listened to.
Okay, all right.
I've had a very good hit rate on liking recommendations from that podcast.
Okay.
Like there's music artists like Sigrid that I, would not have ever even heard about if it weren't for that podcast. So I figure, all right, if they like it, I'm going for it.
Fair enough. No, I was just curious, like, where that came from, because, like, I can't see Derick scrolling through Netflix, hovering over that one, reading a description that is anything like what you just said, and being like, that is for me.
So I can.
I mean, whatever. I was just interested in seeing where that came from, but fair enough.
So I watched a half hour of that show, and because I was at Derick's before Puss in Boots.
And Tabo. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so cute. It's so damn cute.
Cute?
Yeah, it's wholesome.
And the soundtrack is Backstreet Boys. Fucking
It's the best part.
I don't know why. I don't know how.
Oh my god.
It's completely unexplained.
Oh my god.
And like, you think the subject matter of the TV show, maybe Shape of My Heart is the theme song, or our friend of the podcast Hope was like, please don't tell me it's Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, because that would be fucking depressing.
I'm looking this up.
Fucking Backstreet's Back is the theme song to this romance show.
Rock your body, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody. But then The Shape of My Heart is played in the outro, or like certain scenes.
It's kind of
like
interspersed.
the instrumental.
Yeah, there's the tender scene. Yeah.
So this is Japanese, right? So
Yeah.
there's 100% going to be like an American version.
At some point,
Right?
right? It has to be.
It's got to
yeah.
be. Okay.
So the dichotomy of seeing that, and then I just started the newest one of the newer seasons of Too Hot to Handle. It's just the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Like,
It's so
Can
not
I just
wholesome.
tell you that you guys are officially at the point where the shows that you're watching are the shows that my wife is watching.
she's got.
Shit,
great
I'm okay
taste.
with
So you know. Just so you know.
I think
Oh,
you could find a lot to like in those shows, or at least. Too
well,
Hot
I've
to
caught
Handle.
I've caught glimpses of all of them, but there's the one where they like and it could be Too Hot to Handle, but they like a couple goes on to like to the resort, but then like they test their relationship to see if they're going to basically like end up with somebody else,
No,
and then
this
they
is a
like
different show.
I don't know what kind of crazy do you have to be like, hey honey, let's go on this show and see if there's other guys you want to meet and there's other women I want to meet, and we'll see if it pisses each other off.
But
That sounds
it's great
horrible.
television.
What?
It's great entertainment.
Yeah,
though.
okay. Well, obviously it's for TV purposes, but I'm wondering, like, who are these people, and are they real couples? I don't know.
Well, they're also probably getting
don't
paid a good amount of money to appear on that show. I would think. I would
Not
think.
enough to like ruin your like potential marriage, or I don't know, maybe.
You get famous. You know, some people want that fame. I don't know. I know what show you're talking about. It's the same people that wrote Love Is Blind, or that created Love Is Blind.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Love something.
Yeah,
these-
that sounds right.
This is like this is as close as I get to like trashy reality TV. Or like
I love it.
What do you mean
these
that's as
love shows.
close? That is it.
Well, I mean, I guess.
You're acting like you're so far away. No, like
Oh,
you're
no, I
you're
love
in
it.
it.
That Love After Lockup. I used to be my like trash
God.
TV to watch.
Derek
Like
used to
weekend
bring that
mornings?
up. Every call we would have, Derek would bring that up somehow. That's awesome. Love After Lockup.
Other than that, the only thing I've been doing is we had a break for Formula One, but as the crow flies, it is Sunday, and the Hungarian Grand Prix has just concluded this morning. And wouldn't you know it, my boys at McLaren had a pretty good showing. Qualified P3 and P4 on the grid, pretty high up. Seems like their upgrades are working. Strategy didn't work out too well for Piastri this time. Kind of fell down the order. Finished behind Lewis Hamilton. He finished in 5th place. Lewis finished in 4th from starting in pole position, which was definitely a bit of a letdown for the Mercedes fans. Again, Max Verstappen topping the timing sheets and taking the win here. Not really a surprise.
Are you able to bet on like F1, like on the regular, like like the usual apps?
Yes,
FanDuel.
I've done it a few times, but I don't think I've ever won. I think I've always made like the outlandish predictions that never come true.
I don't know. I think that because I know F1 is like a big money sport.
Oh yeah,
Like not only
It
like
boomed, dude. It boomed.
Drive to
well, I
Survive.
think F1's
Yeah.
F1 is very popular, but I think it's boomed a little bit more in the United States. But it's been huge around the world for a long time. But I'm just like so impressed by like just the money surrounded by like each team. You know what I mean? Like
it's
there's
nuts.
like it's incredible. I don't like that's the only way I could put it. It's like when I watch the what is the Netflix documentary?
Drive to Survive.
Yeah. So when I was watching that, I was just like they showed some of the facilities of these places, and I'm like, dude, it makes like some of like the like Major League Baseball teams, basketball teams, like it makes some of those organizations look like small potatoes, dude.
Really?
It's incredible. Yeah, it's nuts.
I think there was an interview with Lewis Hamilton where they state that like the operating cost of a Formula One team, I don't know if it's like per week or per race or something, is like the entire annual budget of some like other major league sports teams.
Yeah.
Like NBA teams, like soccer teams over in Europe. Like it's nuts.
It's crazy. And then like to get a glimpse into like what the training is like for those guys. I mean, it is not driving a car. Like the amount of G-force that you're sustaining, like they do all that crazy neck training. It's like I've seen those machines where they're like ripping the wheel back and forth. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's one of those things where it's like to maybe like kind of like a casual, I guess, fan, you would think it's not like, oh, they're not athletes, but like, no, they're definitely, you got to be athletic.
Putting the work in, yeah.
Yeah. That's not easy.
Yeah, you're not driving your Honda to work. You're driving, this $1 million vehicle. This, I can't talk.
Well, if you're Red Bull, you are.
I don't even know what words to use. I don't even know what words to use to describe. There's a lot of horsepower.
All right. That's our title.
There's a lot of horsepower. So
you got a lot of horsepower.
If Chris gets an anime, I will get into F1.
Dude, that's not even the same. F1 is so easy to get into. You just like
I just gotta watch a documentary.
It's such a lopsided deal.
I thought
anime. Anime's a bit more. I think like it's got to be like the right anime for the person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Because like I could say I don't like this anime, but how do I know? Does that mean I don't like any anime? I doubt you can actually say that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's also something I've not given it a chance. It just hasn't been. It's not something that I was like put onto. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We shall.
All right, and speaking of Formula One, there is something new that we wanted to try out. This is a recurring segment, hopefully. What are we looking forward to when 5 o'clock hits? After work lets out, what are we excited about doing? For me, my favorite track on the calendar is coming up. The Belgian Grand Prix held at Spa-Francorchamps. That's going to be as the crow flies this Sunday. Very excited for that.
Is the as the crow flies an F1 thing?
Nope, don't know where I picked it up. It's tough to talk about time in a podcast where you don't know when it's actually going to come out.
True.
I like that.
You gotta base it in reality at some point.
If that's a Derick original, then that's pretty impressive. I love that. As the crow
no, it ain't.
Okay. All right, so I'll go really quick. So, week 2 of my pickleball league. To recap, the Pickle Pals, we won all 3 of our games in convincing fashion. So we've compiled 3 wins. We trampled the Picklebacks. That was the name of the other team we played.
It's a good team.
Yeah, and which made me actually crave Picklebacks all of a sudden. But week 2 coming up this Tuesday at 6 p.m. The Pickle Pals take on TBD. I'm not sure yet. I had to wait for the website to update the opponent. But I got new pickleball shoes, so I'm confident that we're gonna dominate yet again especially with my new shoes. I'll have more confidence running up and down the court, going side to side. Yeah, I'm excited to break those babies in. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
How about you, Chris?
So I think this happens every time this time of the summer. As we get towards late July, start to kind of tip into August. This is when I start to do more looking into and get into the fantasy football gear. So I think this week I'm going to spend some more time kind of looking at rankings. We did a rookie draft for one of my leagues, so that already kind of got my brain going a bit. But I feel like when you get away from a sport for a couple months, you start to like lose track of some of the signings and where certain players landed and stuff like that. So I'm going to kind of refresh on that. Probably, read the usual articles, but essentially I'm ready to start getting into not only fantasy football, but football season. This is that time of summer, like Hard Knocks on HBO is going to be coming out in a few weeks. watching more stuff about the Eagles. So I'm just kind of overall getting myself into that kind of that mood. So that'll be this week's plan, and might splurge with the birthday week is coming up. So I might splurge on a Birds jersey. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. We'll have to debut that on the pod. Bring it out.
We could. Yeah, I might get that $200 one that I sent you.
Dude, it was sick though. It was pretty sick looking.
Bro, that's when you got a frame. I mean, I can't be getting wing sauce on that.
Yeah. Well, you're not me, so I'm just wear a bib.
True.
We're hypothetical really quick, since I'm doing the same thing with my fantasy football studying. You have the number 1 pick right now. Who are you drafting?
Justin Jefferson.
Okay, that's probably where I'm at too. Although I think Cooper Kupp's a sneaky pick this year coming off the injury.
So my problem is I've been a Cooper Kupp owner for the last 2 years. So I benefited 2 seasons ago when he absolutely just went off. And then I suffered last season when he was going off and then just literally left the field. And then didn't return because there was no incentive for him to come back at that point. But the only knock, there's 2 knocks I have against Cooper Kupp, and none of them are his fault. His health. He's had fairly lengthy injuries in the last couple seasons. So that's always kind of, but you can't draft a guy based on that or not draft him. But I think the other concern, and this is, I think, the more realistic concern is, are the Rams going to be total dog shit? Which could actually benefit because they're going to be throwing the ball even more than they normally would. But I don't know if I trust Matt Stafford. He was hurt last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he stands with that, but it looked like he had a dead arm.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting older. So.
Yeah, and I'm a little uncomfortable with that situation. Having said that, if Cooper Kupp is still there, I'm taking him probably, I would say probably 7th or 8th overall, maybe somewhere in the mix there. I mean, there's going to be probably Jamar, Justin Jefferson, McCaffrey, slide in 1 or 2 other running backs that'll probably go ahead, and we'll see. But if I had first pick, I'm taking Justin Jefferson. You can't not trust that guy.
Yeah, he's the highest rated receiver in Madden, 99 overall.
And I don't know if you buy into I'm still not. In today's league, I've been taking the last few years wide receivers first round, and I'm just not interested. Listen, Christian McCaffrey is a talent, but now that's a guy where I actually will not draft him based on his potential for injury. Of course, if he's available and it's the right time, but I'm not taking him 1-1.
Yeah, no,
I don't think.
It's always been a rule of thumb for me. If I can get a top 3 running back with my first pick, I'll do that. But there's so many good receivers, and
you're right. Once you get out of that top 3 for running backs, it's it's kind of diminishing returns. You're talking about a few points a week difference versus the top 3. But I mean, look at Jonathan Taylor last year. That was a pick that everyone was locked in on, and that definitely didn't pan out.
Yeah, for me, I'm probably drafting Eckler as my top running back. I love him. I've had him the last couple of years. He's carried me, basically.
Yeah.
And then Bijan Robinson, I would look out for him in Atlanta. I think he's going to be a sneaky good pick this year. Sneaky good. I
agree.
Yeah, I'm convinced that Ryan brought up Cooper Kupp because he wants to watch a Kupp scene again.
Ooh. Yeah.
And
damn,
speaking
you're
of watching, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening to us by any other means that are non-visual, also thank you. You can find us on Instagram at 5 o'clock sweats. You can find us on Twitter at 5 o'clock sweats. And as already mentioned, we're pretty much on every podcatcher nowadays. Anything else, boys?
No.
Sorry, my hair is a little messy.
I feel
that's
good.
Beautiful.
I'm sweating.
I feel good. This is my second episode in a row having not done my hair, so let's hope this does not become a trend.
You kind of have the good hat. You have a good hat head, though, if that makes any sense.
I think he just said I have a good head.
All right, bye.
Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.
All right. You feel like you're ready to do this, or
Never.
you want me to
I'm
step
good.
in here?
No, I'm good.
Loosen
All right.
up. Loosen up. Look, your shoulders are tense as fuck. Loosen up.
Yeah, I can see it from here.
They're just big. I worked out.
Oh, it's all the
I
muscle.
worked out today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got this, man.
Thanks.